Atlanta didn't sleep tonight. Tit held its breath. Under a neon sky, the rooftop looked like a secret everyone was pretending not to keep. Rasheeda stepped out of the elevator to a wall of cameras, cocktails, and carefully staged smiles. She came to shake hands and head home early, nothing more. But then she saw him. Kirk, tailored, polished, and laughing a little too easily. And beside him, like a spark looking for gasoline, Karlie. One touch on his sleeve, one laugh too close to his ear, one glance that lingered a heartbeat longer than it should. And the room shifted. Screens tilted. Whispers multiplied. The beat stopped feeling like music and started feeling like warning. In Atlanta, rumors don't walk, they sprint. And when Rasheeda's heels hit that floor, the city remembered. She doesn't chase smoke, she follows it to the fire. Tonight, she won't whisper. Tonight, she writes the headline herself. The elevator doors slid open and the rooftop received Rasheeda, the way a stage receives its headliner wide. Bright and loud in all the right places. The skyline stretched like jewelry. The wind lifted the hem of her dress just enough to announce she'd arrived. Phones rose, flashes winked, and a path opened without anyone being told to move. That's what presence does. It teaches a room new manners. She came to be cordial, to be photographed, to be seen and then gone. It had been a long week of clipped conversations and busy signals, little pauses in Kirk's answers that didn't used to be there. Nothing she could take to court, everything she could feel in her bones. Still, she wasn't here to fight. Not tonight. Sierra saw her first, lifted a glass, and gave that small, sisterly nod that says, "If you need me, I'm already moving." Spice stood by the DJ, laughing with two promoters, eyes sparkling like she knew the playlist and the plot twist. Near the bar, a pair of influencers rehearsed their spontaneous story, mouthing the caption before they even hit record. Atlanta isn't just a city. It's a set with 1,000 directors. Rasheeda did the rounds like a professional, 2 steps, a smile, a "how you been?" A quick pose, then glide. She could run this on muscle memory. Shake, pose, nod, exit. Easy. But ease is fragile in a town built on attention. It can crack under the lightest touch. That touch arrived in the form of a laugh, deep enough to be familiar, careless enough to be suspicious. She didn't turn it once. She placed her clutch on the rail, set her glass beside it, and allowed herself a slow, deliberate look. There he was, Kirk, crisp jacket, fresh lineup. The kind of calm that reads as confidence until you've been married long enough to know it can also be rehearsal. He leaned on the brass edge of the bar with one elbow, face tilted toward a voice that floated up like perfume. Rasheeda followed the sound to its source, Karlie. Her entrance always had thunder in it. Not loud, but electric. She wasn't trying to be seen. She assumed it. Red lip, impossible heels, a smile that held 3 meanings and offered none. The bartender slid 2 tequilas toward her without being asked. Proof of a habit or a history or both. Rasheeda didn't flinch. She held herself steady and watched the quiet details that speak louder than speeches. The angle of Kirk's shoulders inward. The way Karlie stood, not facing him, not away, but at that precise diagonal that lets 2 people pretend they aren't closer than they are. The tiny bubble of space around them. Not crowded because crowds sense where a story is about to be written and give it room. A nervous laugh somewhere to the left. A notification chime behind her. The DJ looped a hook 1 extra time and the wind pressed a strand of hair against her cheek. Gentle as a warning, Sierra slipped to her side. "You good?" "I'm watching," Rasheeda said, soft, even. It wasn't a threat. It was a method. Watching meant remembering. "Last Saturdays, I got to swing by the venue real quick. Tuesdays, my phone died. I was in the back. Thursdays, Karlie's team hit me about cross promo. Nothing heavy. None of it a crime. All of it a pattern. Patterns are polite until they aren't." Across the room, Karlie laughed at something Kirk said. He reached for her elbow lightly. Almost nothing, and guided her 2 steps away from the bar into the kind of corner that isn't private but pretends. It looked harmless if you wanted it to. It looked calculated if you'd already paid the price of believing in harmless. A promoter drifted near, Rasheeda with a camera-ready grin. "Can I grab you for a quick shot, Queen?" She gave him 90 seconds and a photo that would be everywhere by morning. Smile, chin, tilt, shoulder angle. Perfect. Perfection is a skill. Pain is a discipline. When the shutter clicked, she exhaled and let her face go blank for exactly one heartbeat before smoothing it again. Her phone buzzed. "Sierra, you seeing this?" 3 dots appeared, pulsed, vanished. Another buzz spice this time. Say the word. Rasheeda slid the phone face down beneath her palm. She didn't want anyone else's words shaping hers. A waiter passed with a tray of flutes and a line rehearsed for tips. The city purred beneath the rooftop, cars braiding red and white lines along the streets, sirens far enough away to be scenery. Above, a drone camera winked like a tiny moon. Rasheeda adjusted her ring, not to flaunt it, to feel it. Metal cool on skin. A promise can feel like armor or like weight depending on the day. Tonight it felt like both. On cue, Jock appeared on the balcony, pretending not to scan the room while definitely scanning the room. He clocked Kirk, clocked Karlie, clocked Rasheeda's stillness, and made the face men make when they hope maybe this blows over. It rarely does. The crowd did what crowds do best, pretended to mind their business while minding nothing else. Angles shifted. Bodies placed themselves for best sightlines with worst intentions. The air filled with that anticipatory charge the second before lightning, where everyone knows and no one admits. Rasheeda drew a slow breath, tasting mint and camera heat. She let herself imagine walking away right then, down the stairs, into a car, home to a quiet room where drama can't audition. She could. She had that power. But power has cousins' dignity, clarity, boundary, and they arrived one by one, standing behind her like a line of steady hands. Not yet. She collected her clutch, straightened her shoulders, and stepped off the rail. The floor seemed to tilt forward just a degree, encouraging momentum. Her heels clicked, measured, sovereign, saying, "I move when I choose." Heads turned in waves that chased each other toward the bar. Kirk didn't see her coming. Karlie did. Not fear calculation. She reset her smile one notch brighter, as if an extra lumens of charm might explain away physics. Kirk glanced up and, for the first time that night, looked unprepared. Rasheeda stopped 3 feet from them. Not too close. Close enough to end the guessing. "Evening," she said, voice low, steady, public. It was a greeting like a gavel. The music kept playing, but the beat belonged to her now. The first spark didn't come from a fight. It came from a whisper. Sierra appeared at Rasheeda's side like a shadow with purpose. She leaned in close, close enough that her breath got caught by the beat. "Sheeda," she murmured, eyes locked on the far corner of the rooftop. "I don't want to mess up your night, but you need to see this." Rasheeda didn't flinch. "Say it." Sierra hesitated for exactly 1 second, the kind of hesitation that means the truth already hurts. "Kirk, he's over there, with Karlie." Real close. Too close. For a heartbeat, the rooftop blurred. Not because she was shocked. She wasn't. She'd learned long ago that betrayal never sends a calendar invite. But seeing it, that's the part that lands like a punch. She didn't spin around. She didn't storm across the floor. She adjusted her clutch strap on her wrist and turned slowly. Deliberately, like a queen walking through a court that owes her silence. And there it was. Karlie laughing. Kirk leaning in. The air between them warm and reckless. Spice drifted toward them like a warning. "Sis, I'll move these cameras out the way if you want." Rasheeda's lips curved not into a smile, but into something sharper. "Nah, let the cameras stay." He wanted an audience. Let's give him one. All around them, the air was shifting. You could feel it. Influencers lowered their voices while pretending not to. The bartender leaned forward just a little. Jock lifted his drink and took a too slow sip, watching from the balcony like he'd already seen this movie but didn't want to spoil the ending. Rasheeda's heels clicked once, twice, like a countdown. Karlie saw her first. Her smile twitched but didn't break. She turned her head, tossed her hair, and adjusted her top like she was on camera, which she was. Kirk noticed next. His eyes widened a fraction, but he didn't step back. Not enough. Maybe not at all. Rasheeda reached them with that calm that makes people nervous. Calm means danger. Evening, she said. Karlie folded her arms, smirk ready. Hey girl, you look good. Yeah, Rasheeda answered softly. I know. Kirk tried to speak first. She does, ain't what it looks like. She cocked her head the way you do when you're letting someone hang themselves with their own rope. Really, 'cause it looks like my man in a corner with the wrong woman. Karlie stepped in. Wrong woman. Oh honey, don't make me laugh. You already did, Rasheeda said, cool as glass. The people closest to them went silent. Phones tilted, not openly, but just enough to catch angles. Whispers bloomed like smoke. Someone muttered, oh no, she about to go off. Kirk lifted both hands. We're just talking about business, sponsorships, events, ain't nothing going on. Rasheeda's brow arched. Business in a corner with your hand on her elbow. You allergic to conference rooms now? On her elbow. You allergic to conference rooms now? The beat dipped. The DJ turned the volume down like the city itself wanted to hear what happened next. Karlie laughed a bright, rehearsed laugh. Girl, don't act like you own this man. I don't need to act, Rasheeda said, turning her gaze to Kirk. Do I? Kirk swallowed. That's the thing about guilt. It doesn't always need words. It lives in the silence between them. JOC leaned forward over the balcony, whispering to no one in particular, this finna get ugly. Rasheeda folded her arms. I want you to say it out loud, Kirk. I want to hear the script you rehearsed in your head. There is no script, he said. We were just. She laughed once, bitter and quiet. Just is the word men use when they want a mess to sound clean. Karlie's eyes narrowed. You really think you can talk to me like that? Rasheeda turned slowly, every movement measured. Baby, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking through you. Gasps rippled. Karlie's smirk cracked, just for a second. Spice was at the edge of the circle now, arms crossed. Sierra was already recording not for the internet, but for protection. Atlanta had taught them all to collect their own receipts. Karlie tilted her head toward Kirk. A tiny look Rasheeda had seen before. Not the look of someone new. The look of someone who'd already been here once. How long? Rasheeda asked him, voice low. Kirk blinked. What? You heard me? How long? Silence. That silence screamed louder than music ever could. The crowd began to buzz like a storm warming up. Karlie's smirk returned, slow and deliberate. Oh, she don't know. Kirk's voice was tight. What? Karlie shrugged. She asked. Rasheeda took a step forward, not angry, not loud, controlled. Say it. Karlie opened her mouth, but Kirk snapped. Don't. Rasheeda's laugh was soft, dangerous. You telling her not to talk in my face? She looked at Karlie, then at Kirk, then back at Karlie. Let me make something real clear, she said. I've survived rumors, interviews, cameras, side eyes, and snakes wearing perfume. I've rebuilt what most people would have burned down. But what I don't do anymore is tolerate disrespect served with a smile. The rooftop trembled with the sound of everyone holding their breath. And then came the whisper, someone behind them, too loud in a quiet room. He got caught. And just like that, it wasn't a private moment anymore. It was a headline waiting to be written. The rooftop didn't just go quiet, it shifted. The music was still playing, but nobody was dancing anymore. People leaned on rails, turned their bodies toward the center of the storm. Lights from dozens of phones painted the edges of Rasheeda, Kirk, and Karlie like they were on stage. The crowd had their popcorn. The show had begun. Kirk took a small step forward, palms up like peace could fix everything. Sheeda, listen to me. This isn't what it looks like. Rasheeda tilted her head slightly, that kind of stillness that's louder than shouting. You keep saying that, Kirk, and every time you say it, it starts to look exactly like what it is. Karlie crossed her arms, tilting her chin up. Don't drag me into your little marriage drama. I didn't make any promises to you. Rasheeda's eyes snapped to her ice cold. No, Karlie, you didn't. But you sure like to collect other people's. Gasps echoed through the crowd. Even Jock, still pretending he wasn't watching, let out a low damn. Karlie smirked. Maybe if he was happy at home, he wouldn't be standing next to me. And just like that, the spark met gasoline. Sierra moved closer, ready in case things got physical. Spice took her earrings off not because she planned to fight, but because ATL women know. When the air gets like this, you either step in or step back. Rasheeda took a deep breath, but her voice didn't shake. You talk real loud for somebody living in the shadows of other people's mess. Kirk interjected quickly. Yo! Don't start tearing each other down. This is already crazy, Rasheeda snapped. Crazy! Crazy is me sitting at home while you out here whispering in corners with women who smile at me like I don't exist. Karlie stepped closer, closing the gap between them. Then maybe you should be mad at him. Rasheeda didn't move back. Oh, don't worry. He's about to get his turn. Kirk reached out as if to touch her arm. She pulled back like his fingers burned. Don't, she said. One word, sharp as glass. Why are you doing this here? Kirk muttered. Rasheeda laughed a hard, humorless sound. I'm not doing this here. You did this here. I'm just letting everyone see the full episode. The crowd murmured. This line hit. People shifted closer, trying to hear everything. Karlie's smile faltered for half a second. But then she lifted her chin like a villain who loves the camera. Sierra whispered, Sis, I got you. Say the word. Rasheeda didn't look away from them. Nah, let it breathe. Let the truth come out where everybody can see it. Karlie decided to push harder. You act like this man don't make his own choices. If you want to keep him on a leash, that's your problem. Leash. Rasheeda repeated softly, with that calm that scares people. Girl, a real man don't need a leash. He knows where home is. Kirk tried again to talk. Rasheeda, please. She turned on him fully now, all her focus on him. You got the floor. Say it. Tell me why my husband's hand was just around another woman's arm. Why she's smiling at me like she won. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like, Kirk? Enlighten me. The pressure of the moment finally cracked him. He exhaled hard, rubbed the back of his neck. We were talking about a collab. Some promo thing. I shouldn't be been stand-in so close. I know how it looks. Karlie laughed out loud. Oh, please. You weren't just talking, Karlie. Kirk snapped. Rasheeda raised an eyebrow slowly. Go on, Karlie. Since you seem to know more than me. Karlie bit her lip. Not guilty, but calculating. Then she said it. Maybe you should ask him where he was last weekend. The air got heavy. No one moved. Even the DJ turned the volume down like the beat knew when to get out of the way. Rasheeda's voice dropped to a whisper, low and dangerous. Where were you? Kirk's throat worked like a man trying to swallow a lie too big. Don't do this here, he said. You did this here, Rasheeda fired back. Now you're going to answer here. Karlie smiled like she'd just dropped a match on dry wood. He was with me. The crowd gasped. Phones tilted up higher. Jock muttered, oh hell no. Rasheeda's jaw clenched so tight her cheek twitched. She took one step forward, face to face with Karlie. Say it again? Karlie didn't blink. He was with me. The noise that followed wasn't cheering or shouting. It was a soft wave of whispers, like 100 people passing one secret at the same time, Kirk stammered. It wasn't like that. It was a business meeting. Rasheeda cut him off, her voice sharp. You think I'm stupid, Kirk? You think after everything, this is something I can just sweep under a rug? Karlie smirked. You asked? And you answered, Rasheeda said, turning her full fury back on Kirk. So now it's my turn. She pointed at the ground between them. This right here. This is where I stop letting you humiliate me. People started to clap. Not loud, but slow, scattered, like they were watching a woman choose herself in real time. Spice moved behind her, steady. Sierra's hand hovered near her shoulder, a quiet show of backup. Jock sighed, already knowing there'd be no walking this back. Kirk tried one last time. "I love you, Sheeda." Rasheeda laughed softly, almost heartbreakingly. "You love me. When it's convenient, you love me. When it looks good on camera. But where's the love when your hand's on somebody else's skin?" Karlie's smile cracked for real this time. She wasn't the main character anymore. She was the scandal. Rasheeda stepped closer to Kirk, not to touch him, but to make sure he felt the weight of every word. "You made your choice. Right here. In front of everybody. Now I'm macking mine." She stepped back, shoulders square, chin high. A queen walking out of a burning room she didn't set on fire. And as she turned, the whole rooftop followed her with their eyes. Not Karlie. Not Kirk. Her Rasheeda. The woman who didn't need to shout to own the night. The music returned, low and haunting. People whispered and posted and speculated. But everyone knew one thing. This wasn't gossip anymore. This was war. The moment Rasheeda turned away was like someone pulled the air out of the rooftop. Everyone was still talking, but it was the kind of noise that comes after an explosion, scattered, messy, breathless. Karlie tried to straighten her top and act unbothered. But even she could feel it. Rasheeda owned that moment. Sierra and Spice moved fast, slipping through the crowd behind her like a personal shield. Jock stayed by the balcony, watching Kirk, who finally looked like a man realizing he'd lost control of the story. Rasheeda pushed open the door leading to the stairwell. The noise of the rooftop dimmed behind her, replaced by the hollow hum of fluorescent lights and the echo of her own heels. Her hands were steady. Her heart was not. Her heart was not. She paused halfway down the stairs, gripping the rail with fingers that still carried the weight of a wedding ring. It was cold, heavy. Real? She stared at it like it was a stranger. Sierra's voice came softly from behind. "Say the word and we'll take you straight out." "Ain't nobody need to see you cry?" Rasheeda exhaled, slow and deliberate. "I'm not crying," Spice added. "Good, 'cause if you do, I'll swing back up there and make Karlie swallow that smirk." Rasheeda chuckled lightly, not because it was funny, but because her girls were her armor. "No, I'm good. I just need a minute." The stairwell door creaked open again. Kirk stepped in, breath uneven. Suit slightly wrinkled from the tension he'd built for himself. "Rasheeda," he said. She didn't turn. "You got 5 seconds to think about your words." Kirk froze. She slowly turned around and her eyes, red but not weak, met his. Not a single trace of softness remained. "You got caught," she said flatly. "And now? You want to fix the optics? It's not like that." "Then what is it like, Kirk? 'Cause from where I'm standing, look like my husband holding hands with a woman who's been sniffing around our life like a vulture for years." He stepped forward. But Sierra moved to block him before Rasheeda even needed to say a word. "Don't," Sierra warned. "I just need to talk to her." Spice folded her arms. "Nah, you needed to talk to her before you did whatever you did." Rasheeda raised a hand. "Let him talk." Sierra stepped aside, but she didn't move far. Kirk dragged a hand down his face. "I shouldn't have been in that corner. I shouldn't have let it look like that. I swear, Sheeda, I didn't sleep with Karlie. It was a conversation about a collab. Some branding thing. I was trying to make a play for the business." Rasheeda's laugh was quiet and cold. "You think I'm mad about branding?" He took another step. "I made a mistake." "No," she corrected him. "You made a choice. You don't accidentally end up in a dark corner with Karlie Red. That's not how corners work." Kirk flinched, like the words themselves had weight. "I didn't mean to disrespect you." "But you did," she replied instantly. "And what's worse, you did it like you thought I wouldn't see it." His voice cracked a little. "I love you." Rasheeda shook her head slowly. "No, you love comfort. You love history. You love the idea of me always standing right here, no matter what storm you walk into. But love, Kirk. Love don't put me on display." Spice and Sierra exchanged a look, that sisterhood look, and stepped back, giving her the floor. You know what really hurt? Rasheeda's voice lowered. It wasn't Karlie. I expect snakes to hiss. It was you. You looked comfortable. Like she wasn't the first. And like I wasn't even in the room. Kirk rubbed the back of his neck. It didn't mean nothing. She laughed again, dry, sharp. Ain't that always the line? It didn't mean nothing until it means everything. For the first time, he had no words. Just silence. Sierra crossed her arms. I saw how you looked at her, Kirk. That wasn't business, Kirk snapped. Can y'all stay out of our marriage? Spice's eyes narrowed. You brought your marriage to the party. Now, the party involved. Rasheeda held up her hand. Enough. You're not talking to them. You're talking to me, he swallowed. I can fix this. She stepped closer, inches from his face. I don't need you to fix me. I need you to look at yourself and realize what you just broke. The stairwell hummed with silence. She continued. You put your reputation, your name, our marriage on the line for a little attention and a cheap thrill. And you did it in front of the whole damn city. Kirk's voice softened. I don't want to lose you. You should have thought about that before McCune me, the fool. He blinked hard, as if the words themselves were hitting. Karlie means nothing. Then why was she so bold to talk like she did? Rasheeda asked. A woman don't speak like that unless a man gave her the confidence to. That line hung in the air. Heavy. Final dot. Kirk opened his mouth, then closed it. Because she was right. Karlie wouldn't have been that smug without fuel. Rasheeda turned her gaze to the wall for a moment, steadying her breath. I built this with you. I gave you loyalty when the streets laughed at me for Stian. I gave you grace when people said I should have walked. I held this house up when you didn't even know which way the door was. Her voice cracked once. Just once, then it hardened again. But I'll be damned if I keep holding up something that keeps trying to collapse on top of me. Sierra wiped at her own cheek, even though she wasn't the one crying. Spice nodded slowly. Kirk stepped forward like a man finally realizing there's no rewind button for this kind of moment. Please, he whispered. I'll cut it off. I'll fix it. Rasheeda straightened her back. I'm not looking for you to fix it. I'm looking at whether I'm done. And in that silence, he knew. He reached out again, but she walked right past him, pushing the door open and letting the rooftop noise flood back in. He stood there, frozen, like a man who'd just realized he'd lost something he thought he'd always have. The door opened and the sound of the rooftop rushed back in. The hum of people pretending to talk about something else. The low thump of bass, the sharp night air buzzing with gossip. But the second Rasheeda stepped out, the room shifted again. Eyes followed her. Whispers tangled. Even Karlie straightened her back like she'd felt the wind change. Rasheeda didn't walk fast. She didn't have to. Power doesn't run, it arrives. Sierra and Spice came out behind her, not ahead of her. That was the difference. She didn't need saving. She just needed her throne back. Karlie stood near the bar, arms folded, trying to act unbothered, but the smugness from earlier was gone. Kirk hovered awkwardly by the door. Caught between chasing his wife and protecting what was left of his ego, Rasheeda walked right into the center of the rooftop where everyone could see her, where the story had started. The music was still playing, but it was background now. She was the headline. She turned slowly, scanning the room. All these faces. Some friends, some enemies, most just people hungry for drama. That's Atlanta's nightlife. The audience is always ready. Listen up, she said loudly, clearly. The noise died fast. Rasheeda never had to shout. Her voice carried like authority born from fire. I know y'all saw what just happened, she continued. And I know half of y'all already typing it up in your group chats. Cool, do that. But what you're not gonna do is decide my story for me. A few in the crowd shifted uncomfortably. The cameras were still out. She didn't flinch. She pointed toward the corner where it all began. Right there, that's where I saw the man I built a life with. Act like it didn't matter who was watching. Like my loyalty was a background prop. And right next to him, a woman who's made a career out of smiling in other people's pain. Clee stiffened, but Rasheeda didn't give her a chance to speak. This ain't about her. This is about me. She pressed a hand to her chest. I've been silent when I should have roared. I've swallowed pain just to keep the peace. I've smiled in public after bleeding in private. And for what? So somebody else can decide the value of my worth. Not tonight. The crowd was silent now. Even the DJ let the music fade into the background. You see? Rasheeda's voice softened, but it carried even farther. I've spent years being the woman who forgives. The woman who believes in maybe he'll change. The woman who's expected to hold the family together no matter how much it hurts. Family together no matter how much it hurts. She shook her head slowly. But I'm not that woman anymore. She walked a few steps forward, not toward Kirk, past him. Karlie opened her mouth, probably to throw another slick line. Rasheeda didn't even look at her. You should smile less when someone else's house is burning. 'Cause one day, the smoke will find yours. That line hit hard. A few people whispered, "Damn," under their breath. Karlie's smirk cracked completely. She turned away, suddenly very interested in her drink. Then Rasheeda faced Kirk. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. His guilt spoke louder than his voice could. She stood straight. "Kirk, I stood by you when everybody else counted you out. I carried this marriage like it was a crown made of glass. Careful, loyal, quiet. And what did you give me tonight? A corner? With her." He took a step forward, hands open. "Sheeda, She raised a hand. "Don't." That one word sliced through the air. Clean, final. "I'm not doing this here for your apology. I'm doing this for my power," she said. She looked around at everyone. "All of you. You can keep recording. You can keep whispering. But remember this moment. 'Cause this ain't the night Rasheeda broke down. This is the night Rasheeda woke up." Sierra let out a soft, "That's right," under her breath. Spice crossed her arms, grinning like she was watching a queen take back her throne. Rasheeda turned slightly, her voice growing calm again, the kind of calm that means it's over. "Karlie, enjoy the spotlight. It's the last time you'll ever share one with me. Kirk, enjoy your reflection. 'Cause that's all you'll have when I'm done." A few people clapped. At first, quiet. Then louder. Not because it was a show, but because it was real. Because Rasheeda had said what half the women in that crowd had once wanted to say. Kirk's eyes glossed over with panic. It's the kind that comes when a man finally realizes he's not in control anymore. He reached out. Rasheeda didn't even pause. She walked past him, clean, sharp. Done. Sierra followed. Spice too. The crowd parted like water around a ship. At the door, she stopped, turned once, not for him, for herself. Love ain't supposed to feel like humiliation. "If you ever see me walk away," she said softly, "it's not because I lost. It's because I finally chose me." And then she walked out. The night air hit her face. Cool, alive, free. Outside, the city didn't care about rooftop drama. The wind carried no whispers. The streetlights blinked like a quiet promise. This is the first night of the rest of your story. Sierra grabbed her hand. Spice wrapped an arm around her shoulders. The kind of love that's louder than betrayal. "You good?" Sierra asked. Rasheeda exhaled. "Yeah," she said with a strength that sounded like steel. "I'm good." Behind them, the rooftop roared with noise, speculation, gossip, hashtags already forming. But up ahead, a car waiting, a woman deciding, a queen rising. What you just witnessed isn't just drama. It's a shift. It's a woman finally realizing she doesn't need to beg for respect she already earned. It's a reminder that silence may protect their ego, but speaking your truth saves you. Rasheeda didn't scream. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She stood up. And when she did, the entire room remembered who the real power was. It wasn't the one hiding in the corner. It was the woman who walked through the door like a storm they couldn't stop. In Atlanta, rumors run fast. But strength. Strength walks slow, steady, unshaken. And tonight, Rasheeda walked out stronger. So to every woman watching this, To every person who's ever been made to feel like they had to stay quiet to keep someone else comfortable, this one's for you. You don't owe anyone your silence. You don't owe anyone your loyalty if they can't respect it. When you choose yourself, the story changes. If this moment hit you, if you felt Rasheeda's power, hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell icon and drop your thoughts below. Tell me in the comments, was Karlie wrong for how she acted? Did Kirk cross the line? And most importantly, what would you have done in Rasheeda's shoes? More episodes, more truths, more power stories. Because queens don't chase, they rise. Subscribe now. Share this video. Tag someone who needs to remember their worth. And never forget, the real glow is walking away like you own the ground you stand on. Outro music swells, slow trap beat, Atlanta skyline fades out. Atlanta skyline fades out.